So let's go back to when your mother first came and her family.
Okay, in Mexico, as you go over by Nogales, you got the state of Sonora. That my grandfather,
Your
my mother's stepfather, that's where he came from, and he went to work in the state of Sonora. There's a town named Cananea, and it's a copper mine. So my grandfather went to work there, and in the mine, and my grandmother was working in a hotel. So that's where they met. After my grandfather, my grandfather and my grandmother got married, my grandmother got pregnant with my mother. A gentleman that lived there in Niles, his name was Ferruco, okay? And he came to Niles, and he knew my grandfather because my grandfather and Ferruco fought together with Pancho Villa.
with Pancho Villa.
Yeah. So then after the revolution was over, he came to Niles. He told my grandfather about Niles. So they came to get Niles. My grandfather and my grandmother. Then my mom was my grandmother was pregnant with my mom, but she was born in Douglas, Arizona. You know, and then from there they came to Niles. And I don't recall how old my mother was, but she must have been maybe 3, 4 years old because she remembered that they used to live under the railroad trestle there maybe for a month or something till my grandfather got a job.
So they came, that was about 1919, 1920?
I would say 2021, sometime around there.
So and didn't you mention that they walked or walked and worked?
Now you're going back to my dad's.
Oh, that's the other one, I'm sorry.
That's the other one.
Okay.
That's the other one.
So they came, but they were very poor, and so they lived under the trestle with your
Okay, no, we're talking about my mother's.
your mother's family,
Okay,
yes.
they were poor. They lived under the trestle there. I guess my mom must have been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years old because she remembered very well. And then my grandfather got a job working in an apricot orchard for a gentleman named Mr. Fields. And then from there, they got the house there on Vallejo Street, in
And-
the barrio.
Okay, and that was when you turn left?
Okay, when you go in towards Niles on the left-hand side, that was your barrio. And then also on the other side of the street, too that was the barrio also, too. The Pinedas lived there, the Reynas lived there, across the street where the Andrades did live there, you know. And, but anyway.
So you were on the third house, isn't that what you
Yeah,
said?
the third house on the right-hand side, on the left side, on Vallejo Street, going towards Alameda Creek.
Okay.
Okay, that's where I was born.
Is that house still there?
I think it is.
Oh, we'll have to check that out. That would be interesting.
I think it's still there. I'm not sure, but I think it is.
Okay, so but we're talking about your grandmother, your mother.
Okay, now
Also-
you're talking about okay, we're talking about my mother's family now, right?
Right.
Okay. My mom went to school, the old grammar school. I don't know where it was located. I believe it was located by where the Corpus Christi Church, around that area. Then the new grammar school, which still exists, is on 2nd Street, across the street from the Veterans Building. Okay, that's a school that my mother graduated from, and I graduated from. My sister, you know, and my brothers, and
Right,
my brother and my
right,
sister, we all graduated
right.
from the grammar. But, okay.
So, go ahead. So your mother's family came about 1920 or 21 to Niles, and then after your mother and father got married, and they moved.
Across the street.
Yes, and then they moved into the section houses.
Yeah.
Let's go from there. You talked about your mother worked in addition to your father.
Well, I remember, I think I was in about the 4th grade, and across the street from where the Niles Grammar School is, used to be an empty field, and they used to plant tomatoes there. And my mother would go over and pick tomatoes, and after I get out of school, I go over and help her pick tomatoes. Okay, then when the when the peaches were ripe from the valley, they were bringing down to the cannery there, Shuckles, there, Niles. And my mom would go to work there, cutting apricots. Cutting peaches.
Peaches.
Cutting peaches, you know. And she was fast. In fact, I remember one time my grandfather came over. He used to come over to our house, my mother's dad. He said, "Hey, I hear you're the champion over there cutting peaches." Oh yeah, she would cut anywhere from 130 to 150 boxes. You know, and that was all piecework.
Wow.
You know, so then we had enough money so we didn't have to come home for lunch. We would eat in the cafeteria.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
that was quite good then.
Yeah, that
So
was quite
from
good.
fourth grade on, you could, or
yeah,
around that time.
From fourth grade on, and then we were eating in the cafeteria. And I know Mrs. Rebello, which is Stanley Rebello's and Ronnie Rebello's mother, she would work there doing the cooking. You know, Mrs. Parry used to be in charge. There was another one, Caldwell. She was in my class, her daughter was. And then Mrs. Rebello, when I come back with my tray over, she says, "I think you could eat a little more." Oh yeah.
She gave you a lot. That was great.
An extra serving, you know. And anyway.
So let me ask you one other thing.
Okay, go ahead.
There were 5 of you in your family.
Yeah, there was 5 of us.
So can you name who your brothers and sisters are? And were the others, I guess your sister Dolores was born
in Tahoe.
in Tahoe. Then the other 2 were born.
Myself, my sister Matilda, my brother Ernie, we were all born there in Vallejo Street. My sister Dolores was born in Lake Tahoe. My sister Eva and my brother Sandy were born in the section house in Niles.
And Dr. Grau?
Dr. Grau was their doctor all the way to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Dr. Grau.
Pardon me?
Dr. Grau.
Dr. Grau?
Do you remember?
Grau.
Grau, yeah.
Yeah, Grau. Okay, in those days, there was only 2 doctors, Dr. Grau and Dr. Grimmer, from here from Irvington, okay? But Dr. Grau was there in Niles, so he delivered all of us there, you know. And
Do you remember him?
yeah, I remember him. In fact, over there on Mission Boulevard, as you're going towards Hayward, on the left-hand side, there's a whole bunch of homes there, and the street going into that track where the homes are at is named after him, Grau.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and then over here, Grimmer Boulevard was named after the doctor.
Dr. Grimmer, yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Grimmer. And Blakehall, okay, that was named after a family who the husband, I mean not the husband, the son or the father, whatever, he was the banker there in Niles.
Oh, yeah, Robert Blako.
I don't know, it was Robert Blake.
Yeah.
Could have been, I don't know. The
Right.
bank was right kitty corner across the street from the flagpole,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, okay, so let's go back. So now I think I've got it set how your mother, so your mother grew up actually in Niles and went to school. You went to school,
Yeah.
and all your brothers and sisters went to school in Niles.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about growing up in Niles from 1940 on.
Okay, from 1940 on, what it was, like I said, in 1940, I cried, I didn't start, so I had to wait till 1941 to start school.
But what about in the town? What did you do when you weren't in school?
When we weren't in school, well, we would, there was an empty field, when I was growing up, there was an empty field on the opposite side of Vallejo Street as you're going into town on the right-hand side. There was an empty field there. And we used to call it Pineda Field because it was, as you went into the other opposite side, the Reynas lived right here, Pinedas lived here, and then the empty field. So we used to call it Pineda Field. So we would play baseball, football, and stuff there, you know.
Did you swim in the river?
Pardon me?
Did you go swim in Alameda Creek?
Are you kidding? Yeah, my father wouldn't let me go.
Oh, he wouldn't let you
Oh,
go.
he was strict as hell. He wouldn't let me go to learn how to swim. So up to this day, I don't even know how to swim. And another thing, you know, in those days, I think the Mexican men, it was a waste of time sending the girls to school. You know, the waste. But my sister Matilda, she wanted to be, after she got out of high school, she wanted to become a nurse. My dad said, no, you go to work. So she went to work in an office, and then about, after she got out of high school, I guess about 2 years later, she got married. She married my brother-in-law, Louis, the only guy she ever went out with. They got married, and they had 3 boys, you know.
Okay, just a second.
And we went all through grammar school the same. But in those days, they had a high class and a low class in the grades. And all of us Mexican kids, I mean, it was hard for us because here at home you would speak Spanish, and in school you would try to learn English. So it wasn't that easy. Well, anyway, I was in the low third, Matilda was in the low third, and then they put me in the high fourth. Matilda stayed in the low fourth. All right. So then, Matilda's in the house. Okay. So when it came time to go to the 5th grade, my sister Matilda was very smart. In fact, the teacher would always ask her, would she had whatever question she would ask in class, nobody knew. Matilda would raise her hand, and she would answer the question. Okay, fine. It got to the point where she told me, I quit raising my hand. The teacher would ask me, Matilda, do you know the answer? No, I don't know the answer. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer. Because they started calling her Smarty Pants, because she was smart, she knew all the answers. So then, when we were in the, when she was in the low fourth, and I was in the high fourth, she had a teacher, her teacher's name was Mrs. Duffy, all right? And in a report card, Mrs. Duffy put in there, Matilda does not belong in the low fifth, she belongs in the high fifth. Well, when you started school, everybody, if you were in the 5th grade, you went to the 5th grade, they would call your name. You're staying here in the high fifth, you're going to the low fifth, and this and that. So Matilda had a report card, and then I says, let's go talk to Mrs. Murphy. She was the teacher, okay? And her husband was the undertaker. He had the mortuary there in Niles, Murphy, okay? So Mrs. Murphy was our teacher. So I said, come on, Matilda, we're going to go talk to Mrs. Murphy. She said, no, forget it. I don't want to. Come on, we're going to go talk. So we went up there, and I showed her the report. She said, okay, Matilda, you're staying in the high fifth. You know, so from there, we finished
You
all the
went
way
through school together.
You know, in the high class.
So tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up in, you said the barrio. Can you explain that to me?
Okay, the barrio, was the lower section, I would think, of Niles was where, when you first came in, from the 4 corners of Niles, as you were going into the town of Niles, on the left-hand side was Vallejo Street, on the right-hand side was Vallejo Street. On the right-hand side, you go all the way around, you come to the section house. And then, on the left-hand side, if you went all the way to the end of Vallejo Street, you came to the Alameda Creek.
Right.
Okay. Okay, the barrio is just like the low-income homes and stuff. That's what it was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
so where were you? You were born in one of the houses on, as you turn left on Vallejo Street,
Vallejo
correct?
Street, the 3rd house on the right-hand side. I was born there. My sister Matilda was born there, and my brother Ernie was born there. And we were all delivered at home because we didn't have the money to go to the maternity home. So we were all born there, and the doctor was Dr. Graw.
Okay, so he came to the house and
Yeah, he came to
delivered,
the house, you know.
delivered you.
So then, after we came back from Mexico, we ended up, we went to Lake Tahoe, and then we were getting old enough to go to school, so we moved back to Niles, and my dad got a job with the Southern Pacific. So instead of living on the left-hand side of Vallejo Street, we moved over to the right-hand side of Vallejo Street, where the section houses were at.
And can you explain what a section house is?
Okay, section house was what the homes were for the people, for the workers who worked in the railroad. Okay.
So what did it look like? I see you had a picture of it. We'll get that. But you said 3 families lived in it?
Oh, no, there was four units, okay? My family had 2 units, and then in the other 2 units lived my friend's parents. My friend Jesse Martinez and his family lived in the other 2 units, and we lived in the...
So how big a space was it?
It was, you had a kitchen. Each unit had a kitchen and a bedroom. All right, so we ended up with the 2 kitchens, which we converted one of them to a bedroom, and then the other, so you had 3 bedrooms, you know.
Oh.
Kitchen, see, so.
Okay, so it was good for a family, 2 units.
2 units, and then also too, you had a wood burning stove, all right. And my dad would bring the old ties, you know, that they would change. Okay.
The railroad ties?
The railroad ties, he would bring them home. And the ones that he would bring home didn't have no crisol on them, because they used to put crisol on them to prevent them from rotting so fast. So the ones he would bring didn't have no crisol. So my mom and I still have the saw hanging in the wall there at home. You get one end and you get the other end, and you go back and forth. So her and I used to cut all the wood, you know, so we could use for the stove. And